in a straight line. Okay, so yeah, so motion in a straight line, new chapter. Okay, so in motion in a straight line, first I'm going to give a small introduction about this chapter. So yeah, so I'm going to start with the word mechanics. Basically here we are going to study some mechanics which we usually call Newtonian mechanics, and which is also comes under the classical mechanics. We study all the things like classically. Okay, so the definition of mechanics okay, mechanics deals with conditions of rest or motion of the material object. Mechanics, under this subject we study basically, or it deals with conditions of rest or motion of the material objects. Okay, so basically in mechanics, the rules which actually comes is like Newton's law and some equations of motions, and you will also apply this Newton's law of motion in rotational dynamics. Okay, so mechanics, we talk about mechanics, so it has sub branches. The sub branches of mechanics are sub branches. Okay, before going to sub branches, I also want to discuss some other part of physics such as thermodynamics. Okay, fluid dynamics. In fluid dynamics we will study about the flow of fluids, and in thermodynamics we basically deals with heat and temperature. Okay, and here mechanics we basically study the rest or motion of the material objects. Okay, so now let's go to the sub branches of mechanics. The first part is statics. Okay. Basically in statics we study the objects which are at rest or at equilibrium. Okay, so in statics we study of object rest or equilibrium. Okay, if the object is at rest, so the study of that object which at rest is comes under statics. Okay, statics. The object is at static. Second is basically kinematics. Okay, so in this part, in kinematics, we basically study the motion of objects. We study the motion of objects. Okay, and third one is dynamics. Okay, so one more thing about kinematics. In kinematics, we basically study the motion of objects without knowing its cause. Okay, a body is moving, so here we just discuss its initial velocity, its final velocity, the acceleration comes in that object, but we don't discuss in kinematics that what is the cause of motion. Body comes in motion, so somebody applied some kind of force, but we don't discuss in kinematics the cause of that motion means we don't discuss what is all about force. It doesn't include forces in kinematics. That part basically comes in dynamics. So again, in dynamics we basically study the motion of objects, study the motion of objects, including cause. Okay, and here without knowing cause. Okay, so basically your this chapter, motion in a straight line and motion in a plane, comes under kinematics. Okay, comes under kinematics. And other chapters from like forces and rotational dynamics, they are basically comes under dynamics. Okay, so this is all about mechanics, because here we are just going to start physics part. Okay, so first time here discuss what is mechanics. Okay, next, any question related to this point?
Sir, what is the last word for dynamics?
Dynamic, study the motion of objects, including cause.
Okay, sir.
Cause, what is the cause? Means somebody applied that force, so we included force part. Kinematics is just a study of motion, like initial velocity, what is it? All about equation of motion. Okay, and here basically dynamics we include Newton's law of motion. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Take a note, then I will go to the next part. Have you guys done?
Yes, sir.
The notes? Okay.
Yes.
So next part which I'm going to discuss here is like rest and motion. What is rest and what is motion? Okay. Rest and motion. Okay, all of you guys basically are very familiar with rest and motion. What is rest and what is motion? So here I will discuss some important points about rest and motion. Okay, so first thing which is very known, that no change in position we define as rest. No change in position we define the object or particle is at rest. No change in position, it's fixed at a particular position, so we define the particle is at rest. If the body or object change its position, then we say the object is moving or it is under motion. Okay, and change its position with respect to surrounding. With respect to surrounding. Okay, then we say the particle is moving or is it under motion. Okay, these are very basic definition of rest and motion. Okay, so next point which is new for you is rest and motion are relative term. Rest and motion are relative terms. Okay, rest and motion are relative terms. So how this statement is true, let's take example. Okay, so this is all about introduction of rest and motion. So let us take example. Suppose a train is moving. Okay, suppose a train is moving in a direction. Okay, and someone is sitting inside the train. and someone is watching from outside. So the outside person, which is at basically rest, will observe that this person is moving with train, this inside person. Okay. So according to this person, which is at rest, the person which is inside the train is a moving object. Okay. But same person which is at rest in next example, if I put this person inside the train. Okay. Now, according relative to this person, the next person is at rest. Okay, because again that person is moving with the train. So that's why the statement is rest and motion are basically relative term. Okay, relative term. Another example, suppose you are sitting inside your room at rest. If somebody watches you, then he say, okay, you are at rest. Okay, but someone outside the earth, if observe you or watches you, then he will say, every moment you are changing your position, so you are under motion. Okay, so that's why rest and motion are relative term. Maybe you are at rest for some other person, but some third person or some another person, maybe you are in motion. Okay, so in the whole universe, every particle, you can't say every particle is at rest. Maybe it is moving with some other frame of reference. Okay, so this is the a concept about rest and motion. Is it clear?
Yes, sir, clear.
Rest and motion are relative terms. Okay, so next part, next statement about this rest and motion. So absolute and rest are not known. Absolute rest and motion, absolute rest or motion are not defined or not known. Okay, are not known. Why? Because no object in the universe is in a state of absolute rest. No object. Okay, state of absolute rest, because in some different frame of reference, maybe that object considered as in motion. Okay, so one more important line about rest and motion is no object in the universe, no object in the universe is in a state of absolute rest, is in a state of absolute rest. Okay, so these are some important points about rest and motion. Okay, now let's go to the different part of this chapter, which is distance and displacement. Okay, okay, all of you have taken the notes.
Those are
Azza,
last 2 points.
write it, take notes. Azza, it is clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you have any query, then please ask.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir, done.
Okay, so now let's discuss what is distance and displacement. So first I'm going to discuss what is distance. Okay, so distance is defined as the length of the actual path, okay, traversed by a body from initial to final position. Okay, it is basically the total length, total path which a object covered. Okay, so its definition is, it is the length of the actual path, the length of the actual path, traversed by a body from its initial to final position. From its initial to final position. Okay, suppose a particle moves from A to C to B, A to C to P. Okay, the distance covered is equal to AC plus CB. Okay, AC plus CB. Suppose it travels 5 unit in AC and 4 unit in CB. So the total distance is covered is like 5 plus 4 means 9 units. Okay, this is simple distance. You just add algebraically these two numbers, then you will get the total distance. And one more thing which is important about distance is a scalar quantity. Distance is a scalar quantity. Okay, what is scalar, what is vector, which I will discuss in your basically next chapter. Briefly I will discuss what is vector, because without knowing vector actually you can't study the chapter next chapter, which is motion in a plane. But here the motion is only in one direction, which is in x direction. So we can define our vector by taking positive or negative sign. Okay, so here there is not too much need of studying vector briefly, but it's required in our next chapter. Okay, so in the beginning of our next chapter I will start from vectors. So distance is a scalar quantity and its SI unit. What is SI unit of distance? Give me the answer.
Sir, can you repeat?
What is the SI unit of distance?
Meter.
Meter, exactly. Meter. Okay. So these are some important points related to distance. Okay. Next, I'm going to discuss what is displacement. Displacement. Okay. And one more thing, distance always positive. Always positive. Distance never negative. Okay. Because it's a scalar quantity. Okay. Now displacement. Displacement is a vector quantity. Okay, so be very careful in the case of displacement. The definition of displacement is change in position of an object in a particular direction. Okay, so change in position of an object, change in the position of an object in a fixed direction. Okay, or there is another definition. It is the shortest path measured in the direction from initial to final point. Okay, it's the shortest path. Wait a second. It is the shortest path. measured in the direction from initial to final point. Initial to final point. Okay. So these are basically some definitions of displacement. Now let's try to understand what is actual displacement. So as let's take example which I discussed just earlier. Suppose a particle goes A to C and then it again take another distance, cover another distance C to B, A to C and C to B. Okay, so as you know, the distance is AC plus CB, but in this case, displacement is not AC plus CB. The displacement is the shortest path measured in the direction from initial to final point. Suppose this is your initial point, A. What is A? A is your initial point, and B is your final point. Final point. What is the displacement in this case? It is the shortest distance. Okay, it is the shortest path. What is the shortest path between A to B? If you draw a straight line,
AB.
then this is AB. So this AB is your displacement. So here AB is your displacement. AB is your displacement. Okay, AB, A to B. So displacement is a vector quantity. Displacement is a vector quantity. The next part. Okay, you always draw an arrow from initial to final point, something like this vector. So displacement is a vector quantity. Okay, and one more thing about displacement may be positive or negative. Displacement may be positive, negative, or zero. Okay, take a note. Then I will discuss another important point related to displacement. Tell me when you are done. Okay. Okay, done. Hello.
Yes, sir.
And Siddhant, you? Okay, so next part is related to displacement is displacement may be positive, negative, or zero. So let's try to find when displacement is positive and when displacement is negative and when it takes zero value. So I'm taking example. In this example, suppose a particle which is situated at a point somewhere at A. Okay, the initial position of particle is at A and it travels from A to B. It travels from A to B. Okay, so in this case, suppose this distance from O to A is basically x1, and from O to B, this is basically x2. And particle changes its position from A to B. It moved basically A to B. So in this case, how you define a displacement? So in this case, displacement. Okay, this is basically case one. Case first. So in this case, you define displacement by final minus initial. Final position is like OB. Final is like vector OB minus vector OA. So OB means this distance O to B, which is x2. x2 minus x1. Okay, x2 minus x1. So in this case, what is this value? This is your positive displacement. Positive displacement. Okay, positive displacement because x2 is larger than x1. So if you subtract x2 with x1, then it's a positive displacement. This is case one. Now let's discuss how displacement can be negative. In our second case, suppose in the above example, if particle moves from, okay, if particle moves from not from A to B, let's draw the a straight line. Okay, this is again our A and this is again our B. Okay, a particle moves from B to A, and as we know, this distance is x1 and this distance is basically x2 and this is origin. So in this case, particle returns from again B to A. So in this case, displacement. In this case, again displacement. Okay, I'm just switching its. So in this case, we know the displacement is like final. Final is OA minus OB. So final comes at this point A. So we define here x1 minus x2. And here x1 is less than x2. So this value basically negative displacement. Negative displacement. Okay. Okay, is it clear? How the positive displacement comes and how negative displacement comes. Okay, this is all about sign. If it moves left hand side or comes towards the origin, then we take negative displacement. If it's going far from origin, then we take positive displacement. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next, zero displacement. This is 3, zero displacement. Zero displacement. Again, if a particle take a round trip, means if it goes from 0 to A, if it goes from 0 to A and return back from A to O, then in this case, displacement is equal to what is OA minus again OA. So this is basically 0. Okay. When it comes back to its initial position, then the displacement is 0. Suppose a particle starts from here, A, it goes to B, and again comes back to A. Okay, then what is displacement in this case?
AB and BA.
Okay, a particle starts its journey from A, it goes A to B and again return back to A. Then what is displacement? Okay, it starts from A and it comes back to A. So initial minus final position. Initial minus
AB minus BA.
So it's like initial, it start its journey from initial A to comes back directly A. So net displacement is basically 0. Okay, remember in a round trip displacement is 0. A particle comes back to its initial position, then always displacement is 0.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, it goes from A to B. If it goes from A to B, then displacement is simple AB. Okay, but it's again returned back to A, B to A, then displacement is 0. Okay. Is it clear or should I repeat this example?
No, sir, here.
And you, next student?
Sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. It's clear.
Okay, it's clear. So if it's clear, then let's try to solve a problem on this topic, what displacement and distance. I will do only one problem, and I think if you totally understand that problem, that it's more than sufficient. Okay, only one problem is enough for understanding what is displacement and distance. One more important point about distance and displacement is distance is always greater than or equal to displacement, magnitude of displacement. Okay, so distance is basically always greater than and equal to magnitude of displacement. Okay. It never less than displacement. Distance never less than displacement. It greater than, or the minimum possibility is distance equal to displacement. Okay. Now let's do a problem. A question, a numerical. Now let's do a question. The question is, a particle moves along a circular path of radius r. A particle moves along a circular path of radius r, small r. Okay, then find distance and displacement. Find distance and displacement. Okay, so let's complete this problem by drawing a circle. A particle is moving in a circle. Okay, and let's draw. Okay, and circle of radius small r. Circle of radius small r. Here is center, suppose it's center. So this is small r. Okay, and here the point A, and again here the point B. This is point B, and here the point C. Okay, and here the point D, and this is origin, and the radius is r. Then you have to find when particle moves from A to B, then what distance and displacement it will cover. So the first part is from A to B, particle moves from A to B. Second part, a particle moves from A to C. Third part, is if a particle moves from A to B, and fourth part when a particle moves from A and come back to A. There are basically four part of this problem. So let's do first part when particle moves from A to B. Let's do first part when particle moves from A to B. Okay. So first part when particle moves from A to B. Okay. So try to imagine a particle starts its journey from A and it moves from A to B. It starts from A and goes like this, and reaches to B. So in this case, what is the displacement it covered? What is the distance it covered? Distance. Okay. So the total circumference of this circle is 2 pi r, and the distance particle covered is basically 1/4 of this total circumference. Okay. So the distance is covered basically 1/4 into 2 pi r. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
And you, Azhar?
Yes, sir.
Because the total circumference is 2 pi r and particle moves from A to B, so it is the 1/4 part of this total circumference. So the total distance when particle moves from A to B is 1/4 of this 2 pi r. So the distance covered from A to B is pi r by 2. Okay. And now let's talk about displacement. Displacement. So in this case, what is the displacement? So this displacement is basically the shortest distance between point A to B. So this must be a straight line from A to B. Okay. And you know the value of this r and this r, and it's a right angle. So you can apply it directly Pythagoras. So this BA distance, what will be this distance is basically square root of r square plus r square. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You just apply Pythagoras because this is r, this is r. So the hypotenuse basically is under root r square plus r square. So this is basically 2r square, and here r under root 2. So this is your displacement. Okay, so displacement is different from distance. Okay, so this is part A. Next part B. Next part says when particle travels from A to C. Let's okay. First write down because I'm going to change in figure. Okay, write down this part A to B.
Wrote.
Okay, and Siddhant, have you done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, next part is B, which is from A to C. Okay, next A to C. So okay, so A to C. Can you guys tell me what is the distance covered? Distance. Okay, so in this case, basically, distance is like A to B. You have to take the circular, and B to C. This is distance. So the total circumference is 2 pi r. In this case, you go from A to C. So in this case, 1/2 of 2 pi r. Okay, because it's a half of circumference, na? Because you are considering half of circle. In first part, you are considering you considered 1/4 of the part of the circle, and in this case, you considered half of the circle. So half of 2 pi r. So the distance covered is like pi r. Okay, and what is displacement in this case? Displacement. What is displacement? So it is the shortest path between initial to final. Okay, what is the shortest path? Is like AC.
Yes,
is
sir.
the-
AC.
What is the value of this AC?
Diameter.
Diameter.
Oh,
So it's 2r. It's 2r. So this is displacement. Okay, you just take a straight line between initial and final position, and you will get the displacement. Okay. And distance you have to cover the whole track. This distance you have to cover the whole track. So that's why it's pi r, and displacement is 2r. And you can see that distance is here greater than displacement, because the value of pi is basically 3.147 into r. Okay, so that's why displacement distance is greater than displacement. Next, C, A to D. Next part, A to D. Okay, next part, A, B, C. Particle goes from A to D. Okay, so in this case, particle started journey from A, it reaches to B, and it comes to B to C, and then it again travel from C to D. Okay, so in this case, distance, in the first case we take 1/4 of circle, in our second case we take half of the circle, in our third case we take 3/4 of times of the circle, half, 1/4, half, and then 3/4 times. So in this case the distance is like 3/4 into 2 pi r. There are basically 4 parts of the circle, 1, 2, 3, 4. In first case we consider this part, so it's 1/4 and half, 1/2, and in this case A to D, 3/4, 1, 2, 3, 3/4. Okay, is it clear now? So distance is 3/4 times 2 pi r. So it's basically 3/2 pi r. Is it clear? Or I have to discuss more?
yes, sir.
Okay. And you, Siddhant? Siddhant, are you there? Okay. So A to D, the distance is 3/2 times pi r, and displacement. Okay, then again you just draw a straight line between initial to final, means A to D, and the only possible way to draw a straight line from A to D is like this one. So again it's a right angle triangle. This is R and this distance is R. So that distance, so the value of this AD is basically under root R square plus R square. That is basically 2R square, and your answer is R root 2. Same as AB equal to AD. Okay. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Next, final, the particle reaches from A to A. And just solve here, so that will be better. Okay. Next part is when particle start its journey from A and reaches to A. Again, it start from A and completed the whole circle and comes back to A. Okay, I just try outer circle. Imagine it's on red circle. Okay, now A to A. What is distance here? The distance covered. Now you can tell the answer. What is distance? How much distance is covered? It starts its journey
2 pi
from
r.
Circumference.
circumference. That is 2 pi r. Very good. And now in this case, displacement
0.
0. Very good. So the displacement is 0 because particle start from its journey from A and reaches to again the point. So it's a kind of round trip. So in this case, your displacement is 0. Okay. So I think you completely understood what is distance and displacement and what is the difference between these 2 points. And the unit of distance and displacement is same, meter. Unit is same, but the only difference is distance and displacement is that distance is a total length, total track covered by particle, and displacement is shortest path. Okay, and displacement is a vector quantity and distance is a scalar quantity. Okay. Okay, so these are very basic, these are basically fundamental variable in Newtonian physics. Okay, without knowing distance and displacement, you don't have any idea about velocity, speed, velocity, and acceleration and kinetic energy and work done. The physics actually start from this distance and displacement, and by changing its position, by change in displacement and distance, you can have the idea about velocity and acceleration, and by knowing velocity and acceleration you can have the idea about kinetic energy and its forces, and all the physics started from this distance. Okay, so this is a fundamental variable in physics. Okay, now let's go to the another part of this topic, speed. Any question, query about related to this distance or displacement? Huh?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yeah. Okay, now next part is like speed. 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 Okay, so what is the speed? So now if a particle is changing its position with time, if it's changing its position with time in any direction, okay, here we are not specifying our direction, because if we specified our direction, then at that case the speed will convert it into velocity. Okay, so here we are talking about only speed, not direction. The rate of change of position of an object with time, the rate of change of position, the rate of change of position of an object with time. With time. Okay, so speed is defined as speed. Wait a second. Yeah, speed is defined as distance traveled by time taken. Distance traveled by time taken. Okay, the total distance covered in a given time is basically defined as speed. This is a general formula, most general formula of speed. Okay, distance covered, total distance covered divided by total time taken. Okay. Next thing which I am going to discuss here is the speed is a scalar quantity. Speed is a scalar quantity. Scalar quantity. Okay, and its SI unit. What is the SI unit of speed? Anyone? What is the SI unit?
Kilometer per second. Kilometer per hour.
Okay, kilometer per hour. Basically, we in SI unit we define in meter second, and so in this case the SI unit is meter, because distance has a unit meter and time is second. Okay, kilometer per hour is not basically SI unit. Okay, in SI unit we basically talk about meter kilogram second, MKS units basically. So meter per second, and its dimension. What is the dimension? Dimension is it's LT minus 1. LT minus 1. Okay. So we define speed as 4 types of speed. The first one is basically uniform speed. Uniform speed. Uniform speed. Another is variable speed. Variable speed. Another part is average speed. Speed. And the fourth one is instantaneous speed. Okay. Take a note of this speed part. Then I will discuss each and every speed. What is uniform speed, what is variable speed, what is average speed, and what is instantaneous speed. And okay, take a note. Okay, done.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now let's talk about uniform speed. Uniform speed. Anyone have any idea about uniform speed? Anyone?
Yes.
And then what is uniform speed? Can you tell me? Any
Sir,
any rough idea? Okay.
sir,
Uh-huh.
if we take an object which is traveling
Uh-huh.
in such a way that it covers the same distance,
Exactly. Same distance and same time, equal time. This is a very good definition.
same time for each interval of time.
So no change in velocity.
No change in speed. This is also a correct answer, because here we are not talking about velocity. Here we are talking about the speed. So that's also correct. Okay. So it basically covers equal distance in equal time interval. Equal distance in equal interval of time. Interval of time. Okay. So suppose any car is moving 40 kilometer per hour in first hour, and another second hour it again moves with 40 kilometer per hour. This doesn't changing its speed. So it's a kind of example of uniform speed, and that's a very easy concept, uniform speed. And next, variable speed. Variable speed. Okay, so covers unequal distance in equal interval of time. The speed is changing with time. It covers unequal unequal distance in equal intervals of time. In equal intervals of time. Okay. Now let's come to the average speed, third one. Average speed. Okay. It's all about the taking average of all the speeds, if a particle moves from A to B and it moves with uniform or variable, it doesn't matter. You just have to take the average speed. It's all about the total distance covered divided by total time taken. So the formula for average speed, the total distance traveled, the total distance traveled divided by the total time taken, divided by the total time taken. Okay, so average speed is like total distance covered, divided by total time taken. Total time taken. Okay, so average speed, there is another formula for average speed. So average speed is also defined as total distance covered divided by total time taken. Suppose a particle covers a distance, its initial point suppose is x1 and it reaches to somewhere like x2. Okay, so in this case the average speed defined as the distance covered means final minus initial x2 minus x1 divided by its initial position is x1 and initial time is t1, final position is x2 and final time is t2. So total time is t2 minus t1. Okay, suppose it reaches from x1 to x2, so the total distance is like x2 minus x1 and the time taken is like t2 minus t1. So change in distance divided by change in time. This is another value. It's like change in distance, divided by change in time. There is another formula, change in time, and we represent this x2 minus x1 by delta x divided by delta t. Okay, delta x, what is delta x? Change in distance. And what is delta t? Change in time. These are basically new terminology for you. If you have any query, then please ask. I will repeat. Okay, so this is the formula for average speed. There are two formulas. Okay, this formula basically comes from the upper one. Is it clear? Is it very clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all of you, because these are basically building blocks of physics. Change in distance divided by change in time. This is basically your average speed. If a particle moves somewhere A to B to C to D, you're just taking average. Okay. Now, next thing is, this is the third one, average speed. Now fourth, instantaneous speed. Now instantaneous speed. Fourth one is, that is basically whenever you see the word speed, so it's basically instantaneous speed. If someone just write it down, is speed, only speed. In most of the problems you will study the speed of that particle. So in that case we basically assume that it's a instantaneous speed. Okay, more than 90% case it's instantaneous speed. If it is average speed, then it will be written down there, then the average speed of that particle. Okay, The fourth is instantaneous speed. Instantaneous speed. Okay, so instantaneous speed basically the speed of any particular object at particular moment, at particular second. What is the speed? Suppose a particle started its journey from A to suppose B. Okay, this is a long distance. Suppose it's a 20 kilometer. It's a 20 kilometer distance, and a particle suppose goes from A to somewhere here A1 with a speed of 40 kilometer per hour. फिर A1 to goes like A2 with different speed, A2 to A3 with different speed, and A3 to A4 with different speed. Okay, and finally it reaches to B. So what you take if I ask what is the average, then what you will do? You will take take average of all the speeds, average of all the speeds. But instantaneous speed says the exact speed at A1. What is the exact speed at A2? Average is basically total distance covered by total time taken. Okay, suppose it take total 1 hour and total distance 20 kilometer, so you can find average speed. But the speed at particular moment means the speed at A1 may be different, A2 may be different, A3 may be different, A4 may be different. So if anyone asks what is the speed at this particular location at A3, then that is defined as instantaneous speed. Okay, this is defined as instantaneous speed. So the definition of instantaneous speed is the speed of any object, the speed of an object, the speed of an object at any particular instant of time, at any particular instant of time, is called the instantaneous speed, is called the instantaneous speed. Okay, so are you clear with the concept? Are you clear with the concept? What is instantaneous speed? Because this is a very new concept for you. Huh?
Sir,
And Siddhant, you? The concept is clear, or should I repeat? Siddhant, are you listening me? Okay, so the instantaneous speed is defined as basically V is equals to the average speed, which is delta x divided by delta t. But if we have to do some modification in this delta x upon delta t, what is the modification? You have to take delta t very small as it tends to 0, because at a fraction of second, if I ask if particle is moving, suppose somebody is moving on his bike, if I ask now what is the speed at the particular instant, so that interval of time is very momentary, that's very short. So we have to apply a limit delta t tends to 0. Okay, I'm writing again because it's in very small font. So limit delta t tends to 0, delta x divided by delta t. Okay, so why I apply limit delta t tends to 0, I'm again explaining, because the point where we are actually trying to find the instantaneous speed, that is very momentary, and for that case the time interval must be very small. So for that case delta t must be approaches to 0. So this is the definition of differentiation. This is the definition of differentiation. Basically, we represent this limit delta t tends to 0, delta x over delta t by dx over dt. Okay, by dx over dt. So the formula for instantaneous speed is v is equals to dx over dt. V is equals to dx over dt. Okay. So take a note. Take a note. Note about instantaneous speed. So have you done with the average speed? Okay, from where? Just ask me for scroll up or scroll down. Okay, take a note of this point. The speed of any object and at any particular instant of time is called the instantaneous speed.
Yes, sir, done.
Okay. So there is a device which we call a speedometer. Have you guys heard about this speedometer?
Yes.
The speedometer basically shows the instantaneous speed at any instant. Okay. Speedometer, basically. Speedometer shows the instantaneous speed at any instant. Shows the instantaneous speed at any instant. Okay, now let's go to the velocity. This is all about speed. Now let's go to the velocity. Okay. So before going to the velocity, okay, we will do problem later. First, I'm going to discuss what is velocity. Next, velocity. There's no much difference between speed and velocity. Just it is like displacement and distance, and here is speed and velocity. Okay, same thing. Speed is a scalar quantity, velocity is a vector quantity, and in our last topic, which was distance, is a scalar quantity and displacement is a vector quantity. Okay, the only difference is that here we use displacement. So the rate of change of displacement of an object, the rate of change, the rate of change of displacement of an object with time, of an object with time is called velocity. Is called velocity. Okay. So velocity is a vector quantity. Velocity is a vector quantity. Basically, we define velocity by displacement over time. Displacement over time. Okay, displacement over time. Okay, so here if I write instead of displacement, if I write, that will be the better definition. Change of position in a given direction. Change of position of an object with time in a given direction. That will be a better definition in a given direction is called velocity. So it's basically displacement over time. And what is the difference between velocity and speed? As I repeat, as I already discussed, that velocity is a vector quantity. And let me ask to you, what is a vector quantity? I'm repeating this word again and again. I will discuss this word briefly in our next chapter. But here, for your understanding, what is a vector? What is a vector? Anyone?
Physical quantities.
Physical quantities, but how it is different from scalar?
They have both. They have both
Uh-huh.
magnitude and direction.
Direction, very good. So vector have magnitude as well as direction. Suppose this is a pen, this has some kind of mass, okay, which is a scalar quantity. If I throw this pen in a particular direction, then it has a magnitude as well as a particular direction. Okay, so that direction part basically comes in the case of vector quantity. Okay, in the case of vector quantity, so both magnitude and direction, both magnitude and direction, which is vector, and velocity is a vector quantity. Okay, so same as speed, we define velocity as uniform velocity. I'm not going to write again the definition. I think it's equal displacement in equal time. Okay, equal displacement in equal time. Okay, equal displacement in equal time. Okay, next, variable velocity. Okay, so it's unequal displacement in equal time. Okay, unequal displacement in equal time. One more thing, when a particle moves in a circular motion, then it consistently changes its direction. Okay, so when direction or speed or magnitude change, then it's a variable speed. When direction or magnitude of velocity changes. Okay, suppose magnitude is constant but its direction is changes, then that it also considered as variable speed. Third, average speed. So average speed defined as total displacement divided by total time. Okay, total. So the average speed is defined as total displacement is like x2 minus x1 divided by t2 minus t1. Okay, means change in position the displacement, actual displacement, x2 minus x1 divided by t2 minus t1. Here x2 and x1 basically are here defined as your total displacement, which is a vector quantity, divided by total time. The only difference is this vector quantity, which is arrow sign here, which indicates it's a average velocity, not average speed. If I remove this vector here, from here, if I remove this vector, then it's average speed. But if I apply this vector, then it's the average velocity. Okay, so this is the definition of average velocity. Now let's put it in the box. Next, instantaneous speed. Okay, take a note. take a note of this velocity. Then I will discuss the instantaneous speed. Then we will do some numerical on this velocity and speed and velocity. Okay. Have you guys done with notes?
Yes, sir.
So now the next one is instantaneous velocity. Yeah. Instantaneous velocity. Instantaneous velocity. Instantaneous velocity. Again, as we did in instantaneous speed, what we have done in instantaneous speed, we just apply a limit on the average speed. Here we are going to apply limit on average velocity. So the P instantaneous, or generally we called it velocity, it basically limit, it's a velocity at a particular instant. It's a velocity at particular instant of time. Okay. So you can write its definition as velocity of an object at a particular instant. Okay. So here basically vector v velocity is basically limit delta x, delta t basically approaches to 0, because you are taking a very instant movement, and for that momentary the time interval must be very small. So that's why we are taking limit delta t approaches to 0, and here we write delta x divided by delta t. So this is the definition of differentiation. This is the definition of differentiation. So my network is weak, so I can't on mic, please. Okay, it's okay, Siddhant. So limit delta t tends to 0, delta x over delta t, which is basically the definition of differentiation. Yani we can write this as dx over dt, but here ds is in the terms of vector quantity. Okay, so this is the definition of instantaneous velocity. So today basically we will do problem on average speed and average velocity. We are not going today on instantaneous speed and instantaneous velocity, because for that you must have some knowledge about differentiation. Okay, so maybe today or in our next lecture I will discuss what is differentiation and how to take differentiation of very small functions, because without knowing differentiation actually you are not able to find velocity and acceleration. Okay, so you have a very little idea about differentiation. Okay, so I think okay, so let's go some numerical part. First question about average speed is a body travels from A to B. The question, a body travels from A to B, from A to B, A to B at 40 meter per second, and B to A at 60 meter per second. Okay, calculate the average speed and average velocity. Calculate the average speed and average velocity. Okay. Okay, let's try to solve this problem. Solution. The question is, a body travels from A to B. First it goes from A to B, by the speed which is 40 meter per second. Again and again it comes back from, back from B to A. First it goes from A to B, and again it comes back to B to A. Okay, by the speed 60 meter per second. So you have to find the average speed and average velocity. So first I'm going to find what is average speed. Average speed. What is the formula for average speed? Is the total distance covered in total time. Total distance covered in total time. Total time. And what's the information we have known or given in the question is the speed when it reaches to A to B and the speed when it reaches B to A. Okay, but you know the distance covered is same. Okay. So suppose I choose this distance A to B is like x. So total distance covered is like 2x. First it covered A to B, which is x, and again it returned back B to A, then it's again x. Because we are taking average speed. Average speed, we only take distance, not displacement. Okay. So the total distance covered by is like twice x. And suppose it has different speed from A to B. Suppose time taken is like t1. And it has different speed from B to A. So time taken by t2. Okay. Up to now, is it clear? All of you?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Yes, sir.
I just taken total distance. Total distance is like A to B and B to A, so it's twice of x. And the total time when it reaches A to B, it is a different time t1 because its speed is less 40 meter per second. Okay, so it will take more time in comparison to t2. Okay, t2 is less now because distance is same x and x, but the speed in the case of A to B is less and B to A is large. Okay, so okay, so I'm sorry, t2 will be less and t1 must be great. Okay. So we don't know what is the value of t1 and t2, so we can write its expression. So what is the value of t1? So t1 is nothing but what will be the value of t1? T1 is basically nothing but it's a distance, yani x covered with divided by its speed. Okay, simple formula. The relation between time is equals to distance upon speed. I basically use this formula. distance upon speed, x upon 40. And what is the value of t2? What is the value of t2? Anyone? What is the value of t2? Just guess the value of t1.
X by 60.
Exactly. So here t1 is equals to x upon 40, distance upon time, distance upon speed, and here t2, the distance is same and the speed is 60. So it's x upon 60. Okay. So what will be the value? Here you can take x common out. So 2 upon x, 1 upon 40 plus 1 upon 60. So you can cancel out this x to x. Now you have the formula. It's like 60 plus 40 into again 60 plus 60 into 40. Okay. Now tell me the answer. What is the average velocity? Average speed. What is the average speed? Just do the calculation and give me the answer.
$48.
48 is the correct answer. 48 meter per second. Now, can you tell me what is the average velocity? This is the answer of average speed. What is the value of average velocity? Okay, can you tell me what is the value of average velocity? Take two minutes and think. Just take a look of your notes, and then I think you will directly get the answer. Think. Take a 2 minute, 1 or 2 minutes.
The initial and final velocity divided by 2. So we'll get average velocity.
Yeah, but it's basically speed here given. Okay, and you can't apply this directly by taking average. Okay, so the what is the basically definition of average velocity? Velocity, how you define velocity basically?
Sir,
Displacement upon time.
yes.
And particle start its journey from A, it reaches to B, and again it comes back to A. So the net displacement is 0.
0.
Okay, so that's why average velocity is 0. Okay, so it's like displacement divided by time. So which is basically displacement is 0, so average velocity is 0. So this question is very basically famous. Most of the questions are basically take from this portion of average speed. So if the distance is same and two different velocity, two different speed are given, then you can directly use the formula. Okay, so let's take a very small derivation of this problem. So suppose a particle goes from A to B, and again it returns from B to A. It goes from A to B and returns B to A. So in this case, the average speed, suppose it goes from A to B by speed is V1, and when it goes from B to A, its speed is V2, as in the case of earlier problem. Okay, this is a general version. Okay, you can directly apply the formula. And the distance traveled is like x. Okay, So here you can apply the formula. Average speed is equal to, okay, average speed equal to, it's like x plus x divided by t1 plus t2. So which is 2x divided by t1. What is the value of t1? T1 is basically v1, sorry, x by v1. Okay, x by v1 plus x by v2. Okay, so from here you can have the direct formula. So that is basically 2x divided by, if I take common out x, 1 upon v1 plus 1 upon v2. So here x and x cancel out. The formula for average velocity, v average is equal, average speed, sorry, is equal to 2 v1 v2 divided by v1 plus v2. Okay, the number of questions can be asked on this single formula. Okay, if I say some object moves from A to B by the speed 30 meter per second, and it return back from B to A, okay, A to B and B to A with a speed like 50 meter per second, then the formula for average speed like 2v1 v2 divided by v1 plus v2. Okay, so this is the case when distance covered, same distance covered, A to B, B to A, distance is same. Okay, x and x is same. Okay, this is the first case. And one more case, which is the another part of this problem. If the distance covered in the both cases is different, then what is the formula? Okay, one more case on average. If case 2 le lo, case 2, let's take case 2. So if a particle moves from A to B, if particle moves from A to B, and this time it traveled distance x1, okay, and the velocity speed is v1, okay, v1, A to B, okay, and again it returns from this point to this point. Okay. Now let's take it's another point, suppose C to A, because this time it's not same, it's x2 and the speed in this case v2. Okay, it covered different speed, different distance. Okay, so in the both the cases, now if you find the average, v average, this is total distance divided by total time. The formula is single average, total distance in total time. So total distance is x1 plus x2 divided by total time is like t1 plus t2, and here you replace t1 plus t2 by, it's like x1 by v1 plus x2 by v2. So this is again one more formula for v average. So here you can't basically cut it out x1 x2 because these are not same. If x1 is equal to x2, then you will get the above equation. Okay, so a lot of question can be asked over these cases. Okay, is it clear? Or should I discuss it once more? Azhar?
It's clear, sir.
Ah, okay. And you, Siddhant? Okay, maybe he has some network problem. So now, yeah. So I think I discussed all the points related to this speed and average. Okay. So what we have studied today, let's take a look. It's a kind of summary of today's lecture. So today we started basically from our new chapter in which I discuss introduction part. in which I discuss what is kinematics, what is statics, what is dynamics. Okay, these are the part of mechanics. What is basically mechanics and what are its sub branches, in which I discuss statics and kinematics and dynamics. And after that, I discuss what is rest and motion. Okay, I give you some concepts of rest and motion. Okay, and after that, I discuss what is your velocity, what is your distance and displacement. And we did a very good numerical on that part. What is distance and what is displacement? And after that, I discuss what is speed, all the types of speed: uniform speed, variable speed, average speed, instantaneous speed. And after that, I discuss what is velocity, average velocity, and is instantaneous velocity. And we did some problems on that part. Okay, so after that, I have to discuss what is acceleration. What is acceleration? But before going to the acceleration part, okay, I will do some mathematical concepts like differentiation and integration. What is differentiation and what is integration? How to differentiate a function, how to take integrate. Okay, so anyone have any idea about differentiation or integration? No.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Siddhant, you have, and you also?
Yes, sir.
You just know very little about differentiation. How to differentiate simple algebraic function, not more than that. Okay, some algebraic and some trigonometry. You know how to differentiate sine or how to differentiate cos function. Okay. So, any query, question related to today's lecture, today's topic?
No, sir. Clear.
Clear now. So today I am stopping here because I have to go through to the differentiation and integration part, and that will take some time. So in our next lecture, I will start from differentiation. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. See you guys in our next lecture.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you,
You're
sir.
welcome.